Welcome back to YMT112 Algorithm and Programming 2 tutorial of chapter 10. So we were just speaking about question 2. This is another video to shorten the period of the videos so that you guys do not feel bored while watching and practicing them. We finished with question 2 and then we need to move to question 3. Question 3. The last one I didn't discuss. I'll discuss it in a while, okay? This particular part. I will get back to it. So let's go to 3 and discuss its details. We have considered the following Java code. So we need to know what will be displayed by this Java code. Let's just copy it and place it in our program, in our NetBeans or whatever IDE that you are using, and see the outcome and explain about it. Discuss the rationale of this one. Okay, let's just run it. Now look, BDE. Now look, what's defined here, or what do we have in this program? Integer number. Okay, just an integer number declaration, string str, then try. So we have a potentially source, or a potential source of exception. So we have an exception will potentially be thrown from here. So this part of a code may throw an exception, and that's why we put whatever inside of this try block that may create or throw the exception. Well, you may ask me, why will an exception be thrown from this part? Now look, we have a string, and the string, we try to parse it. We try to convert the string to an integer number, and parsing in this case will allow us to get only numerical strings to be integers, or if you can parse it to double if it is double. But you cannot parse a string of a series of characters to an integer. So it should be numeric. It should be from 0 to 9. And in that case, whatever available from 0 to 9 as a string here will be parsed to an integer. And due to this, we will have an exception raised. So this line will throw an exception. That means this one will not be displayed. We discussed it a few minutes ago. Okay, so what type of exception will be thrown? Now look, we have something here called number format exception. Now this one is exactly one type of number format exception. Why? Because we are dealing with a problem with the format of the number. So this one will be displayed. This is fine. How about this illegal argument exception? It is actually, well, we are discussing an illegal argument here. Why do not we have the display of C? We have B and then directly D, then E. Well, for D and E, I'll explain them in a while, but this one, why do not we have C? Why do we have this part of the catch block, not this one? Well, simply because we have this part of polymorphism where we can represent a class in different ways. So number format exception actually is a subclass of illegal argument exception, and since we have it, you can place this one before the upper class or the superclass. If we change their places, it wouldn't work. Now let me just change. So I'm exchanging their places. Now immediately will give me an error. Let's check the error here. Exception number format has already been caught. Why? Because this one has caught it in a broader sense than number format exception. This catches number format exceptions and other types of illegal arguments. So if you go specific, then you go general, then no problem. In that case, it will be fine. I will catch the specific exception, that's thrown from here, and this one will be disregarded unless there is another illegal argument exception. Maybe there are other types of codes that throw illegal argument exception other than number format exception. You can Google it. You can check these types of exceptions available in Python. So how about D? Why D is displayed? So B, we agreed. This one will not be displayed, so it's number format exception. This one is number format exception. So the broader one will not be considered. It's already considered here. It's caught here. It will not be caught again, or will not be dealt with or handled in another block of catch here. So finally will be displayed whether or not the exception is handled. So if there is any exception, finally will be displayed. If there is no exception at all, it will be displayed whatever inside the finally block. If there is an exception, it will be also displayed. So it doesn't matter if there is exception or there is no exception. If there is an exception thrown, handled by any of those, finally will be displayed. If there is no at all, finally will be displayed also. So it's just a block that's displayed in some cases, whether the exception is thrown or not. Now, the last part here will be displayed regardless of any of this, you can say, scenario. Why? Because if we have any exception which is handled, we will not have a problem displaying this. If there is no exception at all, we will not have also a problem to display this. So that's the idea. This is exactly the case. And remember that we usually ask these questions in quizzes and exams, where we try to put like a specific, then a more general, or sub and super, for example. In that case, we may, the question may trick you, may sound more simpler than it is. So you need to pay attention to it. I promised you to go through this one, the last one, multiple exceptions. So you may tell me what's multiple exception. Now here, I delayed it for a reason. Now these two actually are multiple exceptions. We have different types of exceptions. Maybe this one is more general than this, and it covers it also, but we are able to create multiple catch blocks. It's possible. It depends. So we may cover more than one type of exception. Now look, we don't have more than one type here, but I tell you, let me just rerun and show you how we may have. Now look, I'm entering 3 again. Now here is the problem. If I say I have, we said 80, 90, and 100. You will tell me, wait a minute, that is a double. What are you doing? You're just entering a string. That's not possible. This is exactly the point. So, we have a problem. So we have an exception which is thrown input mismatch exception. It's not handled. Why? Because I don't have a block here to handle it. I can create this block. It's fine. I can say catch. I'm sorry. Okay. And in catch here, I provide exactly input mismatch. Mismatch, let me type it correctly, exception. And I say, give it a name, whatever. You can give it even the same name here, it doesn't matter. And I try to handle it. Okay, we have to import its own definition from somewhere. Well, it is within the utility. By the way, there's something I have to mention now. These exceptions, their definitions are available in different packages, so you need to include whatever package or whatever class within certain package that provides the definition of this class. Okay, so in this catch, what do we need to do? Well, we can display directly what kind of what kind of problem we have here. So let's just display directly get message. I'm not quite sure what it will display. However, this is the default displaying a message. Let me see, not EX. Okay, so let's try to run and repeat the process again. We did earlier 3. Well, okay, 90. So we say 80, 90, 100. Well, okay, this is exactly it. We have null because we have some sort of exception, mismatch exception. Maybe we can display it by ourselves. We can say like wrong entry, for example. We can just give an indication about a wrong entry, and due to that, we'll just skip all the looping process here once we enter 100 somewhere here, because this is supposed to receive double, so it will not carry on here, will not carry on the display or whatever, and in that case we will end up with multiple exceptions. Now we may have something we call multi-catch. Multi-catch is actually, I can convert this view to another view. What does it mean? It means, well, let me remove this totally, and what I will do, I'll say or, okay, input mismatch, input mismatch, we said format, right? What did we say earlier? The input mismatch format. No, not format, I'm sorry, number mismatch. Input mismatch exception. I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. I forgot the the total name is input mismatch exception. I'm very sorry. It's all exception. It ends by exception, and it just went out of my mind quickly. Okay, I got it. So file not found exception or input mismatch exception. You may tell me it's not logical. You're combining both of them. Well, you can customize it. You can customize the messages. For the time being, this will do. It will work similar to multiple catch statements. This is multi. That means we will have more than one type of exceptions at the same time. You can run this kind of scenario of an object. However, the outcome will depend on the type of the exception thrown. So it depends actually on the type of the exception, and I'm not sure which one will be. It depends on the user entry now, and whether the file is available or not, whether we could open the file or not. This will work. It will just work fine. If you have no problem, like, okay, I provide 3, and okay, 90, 80, 90, and 100. I said earlier 100. So it will just run similar to the process before. Now the exception will just give you null because there is no actually message to be displayed. We can get another message to be displayed. This is just displaying the object actually, details only. There are other methods to get even the root of the problem or the exception. We will discuss them later on, or maybe we can give you as an assignment to do them. I hope you guys will enjoy this session, and we will record another session very soon. Have a good time. Goodbye.